What is going on, everybody? This is King Nappy. You are tuned into the Regal 30 podcast. I'm your host. Today, we're going to talk about the very popular topic. I know everyone's just dying to talk about this outbreak that's been going on, man. I just been having a few thoughts in my head that I was wanting to get out about this whole thing. I just want to get right into it and dilly dally around. One thing that I was noticing was that um, they had issued a soft order, stay at home order for our particular state. And for that order, we were told that we could go to the grocery store, go to the gas station, we were able to go to the pharmacy, which is cool. People may have things they need to do. They need to go to the grocery store, pick up a few things, go to the gas station. If you were an essential worker or considered an essential worker, you had to go to work. So they were being lenient. And if we were to be responsible about it, it could have worked. Because the time that you were out, they expected you to have on face masks, they expect you to have on gloves, and they expected for you to wash your hands and sanitize. Also, when you were inside of stores, they were expecting you to maintain a proper social distance of 6 feet. Most stores were implementing this rule and enforcing this rule, but there are still some people who just kind of make that exception. There's some people who come into the store and hypothetically they work for Instacart. So they're moving and they're shopping real fast and they're in a rush. They're on a time limit. So sometimes with social distancing, you have to wait for the person that's in front of you to do what they're going to do. The person behind you has to wait for you to do what you need to do. So a lot of guys were just running people over and just kind of doing what they wanted to do in stores due to a time limit. Outside of that, people who were non-essential workers, they were told they can go to the grocery store, gas station, pharmacy, and also take walks in the park. Little stroll. It was just weird because people were abusing it. No one was really paying attention to it and paying any reference to it. People were just abusing it and just doing what they had wanted to do. There's a way we can do things, and we just weren't doing it. And so now they've gotten law enforcement involved. Now they've gotten, they're sprinkling military here and there throughout the U.S. to closely monitor, the public. In Missouri, I know they had issued a $2,000 fine for someone who violates the stay-at-home order. I didn't know what was considered a violation over there. If it's just simply coming out of your home, or if it's you were out too late past the curfew or the suggested curfew, or I'm not sure what warranted that particular violation, but that's a small step in a bad direction for us. It only takes so much before we are being treated like kids and quarantine indefinitely. And there's a way of going about things, and we're going about it the wrong way. There's so many ways where we could be responsible, be a little more open-minded about rules, about things that we could cut back on, dial back on. I think a lot of us were just enjoying that freedom because we were told that we couldn't or we shouldn't do it. And I think the government had a pretty decent idea that we weren't going to keep up with it. that we would eventually kind of just do what we wanted to do anyway. And that always poses a problem. They knew that we were kind of going to abuse it and just do what we wanted to do. So it gives them the room, it gives them the leeway to come in and sort of take charge and force us to do what they're wanting. My thought process behind this whole thing is, as bad as it is, as terrible as it is, and it is bad, it is terrible. There has been people who lost their lives, countless amounts. There are so many cases in the U.S. at the moment. If I'm not mistaken, I think we're well over 200,000 people confirmed, so far as confirmed cases. Confirmed deaths, I'm not too sure on how many. But I just feel like there's an agenda behind this, you know what I mean? It's just the way that the politicians and the medical field and the medical organizations, law enforcement, how everyone has publicized it and has televised it. It just seems like something's behind it. Like they really, really wanted us to see this. As like I said, as terrible as this is, and it is terrible, I don't want to ever present myself as insensitive, because I definitely am not. I realize there are a lot of people who are hurting in these situations from losing real loved ones to this virus, you know what I mean? So you never want to come off as insensitive. But what I do want to do is to recognize something is happening. Something's up, something's not right. This all seems off to me. I'm noticing more and more and more how quickly it's happening too. That's what I've been noticing. But I've been noticing more of just talks of international governance. Been hearing the word multilateralism being tossed around here and there. The Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, gave a speech. She did a public address I believe it was a couple days ago, and had a green dress on, some pearls, as always. Very regal young lady, and she made a public address about this particular situation, just encouraging everybody, giving everybody, good morale, and just uplifting everybody who's been working tirelessly. Hats off to the medical field and the guys, these superheroes in the medical field who's doing endless hours, putting themselves at risk to fight what seems like a hopeless fight. Running low on supplies and morale and energy and just mental, just losing that edge. Shout out to the medical industry, man, to these guys who are doing this work. I saw some videos of some surgeons in the OR, and they were all praying before they went into operation, because it's just really sensitive out here right now, man. It's just different. This is different out here. I haven't dealt with anything like this ever in my life. This is different. There may be some people who were, previous generation that may have dealt with something like this, so it's a cakewalk for them. This is different for me. And even at the way that the government and higher officials are responding to it, it's different. This isn't something that I've seen before. I have a feeling that this one world agenda, this international governance, may be on the table way sooner than what I was anticipating. It's like they're rushing it almost. And I honestly feel like there's a lot of benefits to it if the intentions behind it were true. But I feel like there it isn't, because it isn't. Let's just be realistic here. We're adults. It's not. To have a thought process in the back of my mind that the government and politicians and political officials, that they just love us and cares about us that much, that would be stupid to even ever think that. They just don't like you that much. They just don't. Never have. It's just the when I see the plan or the thought process of one world governance, and I think of some of the benefits, some of the pros. I look at a lot of countries who lack terribly in resource, lack in resource and information and opportunities and infrastructure, in agriculture. They lack in health. They lack in everything. They were talking about. I was watching a video, YouTube video. I forgot what the guy's name was, but it was him and a group of guys, and they just travel. They do a lot of expeditions and just traveling, exploring, and things like that. They have medical staff with them and professionals that lead them and guide them, tell them what, when, what not, what to. Just kind of lead them and guide them. And they were in the Amazon, and they were visiting the people of the locals of that region, and they stayed with them for, I think, about a couple weeks, and just sort of lived in their shoes, or lack thereof. It was said that they all were barefoot, and they had these very tough built feet just from the life that they live and climbing trees, and how they were able to scale trees so quickly, and how their feet sort of spread far apart just from walking in that terrain so much, and coming in contact with them, and how they were so welcoming. They had no knowledge of anybody. They lived there their entire lives, and they never leave, and people rarely travel there. So when they see people, it's literally brand new to them. You're like an alien almost to them. And they were mentioning just their hair, and how they went over there, and they were just like, they were so amazed by their hair and their skin tone, and they never see anybody like them. And it was just pretty cool to see that. There's just so many regions in the world. Got off topic for a second, but so many regions in the world where people are just behind in ways that other countries or other nations are excelling. Having a international governance could very well help, could very well benefit them. It could very well benefit the economy if done correctly. Markets would flourish if done correctly. Education systems. If we could take some of the good that other countries had, this one nation has, and take some of the good in this educational system that this nation has, and take some hints and pointers from this one, and just combine it all in one and make one, iron curtain of system of education. You take the benefits from this healthcare system and that one and this one, and you combine it all and make one great system. But yeah, there are tremendous benefits to it. Being able to just extend those resources all over the world, to extend all these different aspects that some countries lack, other countries excel in. There's benefits to it. I just figured they're not going to do this correctly. They're not going to do this the right way. They're not going to make the right choice on this. They're going to abuse it. They're gonna abuse it. They're gonna try to take control of everybody, try to regulate what everybody does, regulate how everybody use the markets, who can use the market, stock market, and it's just, it's gonna look good, and that's what's gonna make everybody want to join in on it, want to be in on it. And then it's going to fall flat. And everything that everybody was expecting is going to change. I don't know. This is one of my little rambles. This is a quick little video. Nothing too long, nothing too major. Just share my thoughts. What do you guys think? Follow us on YouTube at NappsandNurture, NappsandNurture. We are also available on Spotify. We're available on Breaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Pocket Cast. Yeah, we're pretty much everywhere. I will catch you guys later. Look us up as the Regal 30 Podcast. Peace.